good morning to those in Europe, good morning, good evening, or good night, or something in those in America. Today I've got Janine Beckhausen. His passion is about teaching teenage girls about IT and STEM and all that sort of stuff. So what we're looking at today is Janine happens to be in Luxembourg at the moment, attending a conference and also presenting papers. So hi to Janine.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for the chat.
That's all right. So what are you presenting? What's the thing that you're presenting at the conference?
So I'm in Luxembourg, which is a place not many people know where it is, but this year in Luxembourg, the European Commission is hosting the SME Assembly. So they've brought in entrepreneurs and policymakers from all over Europe to think about how to move policy forward in Europe for SMEs and for entrepreneurs. And I'm here with the Tech Girls Ambassador, Lily Scout, who's 13, and she's the youngest entrepreneur at the conference. And so we've been presenting our Tech Girls work and showing how Australians are doing some pretty amazing stuff in the entrepreneurial and STEM space.
So Lily's sort of wowed the show because she's out there just doing it. So what else is happening? What has she been up to?
So yes, Lily is wowing the show. I think everybody knows of us three Aussies. So Lily's mum is also here, Danielle. The three of us have been attending and talking to as many people as possible. So one really special part of this trip has been, we were invited to meet the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg. So the Grand Duchess actually does a lot of humanitarian work around the world, and she runs the Red Cross here in Luxembourg. So we were invited to come and meet her. And so in the last 6 weeks, Lily and her mum and some of Lily's friends have been working on a light-up cape for the Duchess. So we figured the Duchess is a superhero as well, so we wanted to give her something really special to remember our trip. And so Lily has been making a wearable cape. So wearables are sort of weaved into the cape and the back Duchess, and it lights up. So we actually presented this to the Duchess 2 days ago in a really nice special meeting. She even wore the cape, so there'll be some professional photos and things soon. So yeah, we wanted to make our mark and show that us Australians are doing great things too.
All right. So what is the scope of this conference? What are you actually presenting, and what are the people looking at? What issues are they looking at?
So it's really about social change. So they've brought together people from all across the European Union. So there are many, many countries represented here. And yesterday they had a pitch competition where the winners of competitions came together and pitched for a chance to go and do a TED Talk in The Hague next year. So there's so many amazing ideas and just a really nice feeling about how can we use technology for social good. So we've been able to talk with many entrepreneurs, many of these people who are doing amazing things to shape, I guess, the next stage of policy in Europe as to how to support entrepreneurs, and particularly young entrepreneurs, and how to do that, particularly around technology.
So how does this fit with what you're doing with Superheroes? So Superheroes book has been out for a little while now. So are you introducing that into Europe, or is that what you're looking to do?
Well, that has actually been a bit of an outcome of the conference, a little unexpected. In the last 6 months, the Tech Girls movement has actually gone from strength to strength after we've been running the search for the next Tech Girls Superheroes. So 2 weeks ago, we announced the national finalists in Australia and the winning team of the competition. And so we came here to Europe to talk about that program, so the Youth Entrepreneurship Program that forms the search for the next Tech Girls Superhero, and how that entrepreneurship program is helping to give young girls skills around technology development, and also how young girls are using technology as a way of making a real impact in the local community. So out of this conference, we have now many contacts in Europe, and it was very well received. So we are looking at rolling it out across Europe in the next year, and seeing how we can profile some amazing superheroes here in Europe as well.
So this is pretty amazing in itself, just to see that something you started out as a thing for an idea a couple of years ago now,
yes,
has sort of blossomed.
It certainly has. So 2 years ago, almost to the day, the Tech Girls movement was formed. And for me, it was a hobby and something that I've been really passionate about for a long time after doing lots of research in the area, running many events for girls. And this is the second book. So Tech Girls Are Chic was released 8 years ago as the first book, and 20 copies were distributed. That was pretty successful, but for me, it's always been a bit of a hobby and not my main job. But in the last 6 months, particularly, 20,000 books have now been distributed across Australia. So all of them that I've printed have now been distributed. I'm looking at printing another 20,000 next year. Mm-hmm. And so the timing just seemed right to come and present it to a new audience and to get some feedback and see how we can move it forward on more of a global level.
So that's amazing. So anything else that you want to add while you're away? What other outcomes you could find?
I guess for me, it's just having connections and seeing some of these amazing women. So there's a lot of female entrepreneurs here. And at the conference, the opening session was hosted by the Duchess herself, and she took the stage with 5 women entrepreneurs from around Europe. And they were presenting their stories about how they've got to where they are and the challenges and possibilities in the future. And for me, seeing and meeting those women who are very successful and doing amazing things, and I know for Lily, being in a room of all of those inspiring people, it's taken our confidence and given me a lot more confidence in what I've been doing, that it really does have a widespread appeal. So I think there's so many possibilities here. We've met teachers who are doing amazing things in the classroom around talking to people who are using virtual reality to get kids excited about technology and science in the classroom. And we've made some really nice connections in education, for instance, across the UK and across other parts of Europe. We've been talking to people who have contacts across 30 countries here in Europe and how we can do something. So even if half of those possibilities come to fruition, I think it's been an extremely exciting and fruitful trip, and I'm really excited to see what will come next.
So how are they using virtual reality? What are they doing? They're making apps, or they're making movies? What sort of things are they looking at?
Yeah. So the guy Jan, who we've been talking to, he's from Denmark, and he's using Oculus Rift. And there are particular applications that his company developed so that kids can go and explore science. So I have a great picture of Lily using the Oculus Rift, and what she's doing is actually sort of swimming through DNA and getting to see it and how it all fits together. And after she took the glasses off, her declaration was that she now wants to be a scientist. So that's how powerful the technology is. So we're looking at how we can bring that across to Australia and make it much more widespread to get girls excited about it.
So has there been any pitching competitions, any startup weekends been happening while you're away that you've been attending or listening to?
There has. So there were the pitches at the conference. So like, as I mentioned, the national finalists, there were, I think, 20 finalists chosen from across the EU. And so these people had actually pitched on a national level and been chosen as the best for the country. Then they came here to the UK, to Luxembourg to present those ideas. So there were 20 pitches, and there were things around peer-to-peer knowledge sharing for farmers, for instance. So using technology so that farmers in developing countries can actually ask questions of farmers in, say, first world countries and get some ideas on how to solve certain problems. There's been ideas, one particular standout was called Hackademia. So it's a woman, Stefania, who's from Romania, and she now lives in New York. And so she's teaching young kids to build hardware with in a really fun way to actually solve local problems. So these are a couple of the standouts here that have pitched.
So is that hardware like Arduino or
yeah.
So
Arduino.
Arduino or one of the little computers, little mini computers that they build that for not very much money? Is that the sort of thing they're doing?
Yeah, it's all of that kind of stuff. So Hackademia, the kid part being in there as well. So, and you may be seeing those little computers where you can connect bananas with circuits and make a computer out of them. And there's all sorts of really fun. And one of the stories she told was about, she had a 6-year-old who came to her workshop who was soldering for like 3 hours straight and trying to build the technology. And she went home, and about 2 weeks later, her parents contacted me and said, "Where do I buy a soldering iron?" Because she's just so very excited about it. So for me, that's just brilliant, to engage young girls and get them excited and to build those practical hands-on skills so they really literally feel they can change the world and build their own future.
So anything else that you want to add before we sign off? Anything else?
I think that's about all. I think it's just for us been an amazing experience to come and share, because not many people know what happens in Australia, so it's nice to be able to share some of those ideas with such a large audience, and posted by the European Commission. I mean, we were invited, our trip was fully paid for by the European Commission to come and share our ideas, and it's just been a super amazing experience, and we feel very, very blessed to be here and meet so many amazing people.
Absolutely. Well, hang about for a minute. I'm just going to close this out, but thank you very much for everyone for watching and seeing us get off there and have a chat. But you can always have a look at this later, because the link will be posted on YouTube. So thank you very much.